Sorry, Smaug.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Contrarians of the Cosmos.
International edition, you know?
More international than we usually are, right? Because we got a little globe-trotting boy on the other end here, Tyson. So
Coming live to you from Malaysia.
So yeah, we'll absolutely get into your little misadventures in a second. I just wanted to update. Thanks for the feedback on our last episode about how all rappers are gay. I had fun recording that, and it looks like a lot of you had fun listening to it, or didn't have fun listening to it, but still did, and got angry about it. I love it. Keep it coming. So that's great. Also, I think we've avoided talking about it for a little bit, Tyson, but, and it's our forte, actually, believe it or not. We, as in me and my country, have an election coming up this year, and it looks like we know who the front runners will be within each party. So I think Tyson and I are going to do a separate political climate decision 24 November breakdown. How we got there, you know, state of both parties, how it
how we got there, how some people's journeys have shifted from, you know, more establishment candidates to, you know, to kneeling to the more obvious choices, you know.
Listen, some people have an inquisitive road, a hopeful one, and things don't turn out the way they should. Let's just
all
say
I'm gonna say is I'm expecting a 4-page apology when when something happens.
Well, we'll see what you get when we get there. But the bottom line is Tyson and I are gonna do a separate election mania episode, and that'll be coming to you soon. But for now, we're just gonna hang out and catch up, and this will be a more standard episode. So we already mentioned it, and I gotta ask Tyson, and first you need to clarify for the geographically challenged, aka me. There are some states I still can't find on a map in my own country. You are in Malaysia right now, which is sick. And before you get going on that, where is Malaysia?
Okay, so you know where Thailand is, right?
I do not.
Okay, I guess as much. Okay, so Thailand is on the left of China, and Malaysia is on the left of Thailand.
Are they little
sense?
like peninsulas or islands down there or something?
It's one big landmass, but it's just divided by borders. You know.
Is this what's considered Southwest Asia?
No, this is Southeast Asia.
But you said it's on the left, so wouldn't that be to the okay? All right, I'll have to do my homework on that then. But
yeah, I don't really know how it's Asia's like eastwards when you have to go west, but I guess it is a ball, supposedly, the Earth, right? So it works both directions, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't fully bought into. I'm pretty much letting go that the Earth is a ball. There's nothing I can do about that. But the fact that it's spinning 1,000 miles an hour, listen to some previous episodes for my thoughts on that. But I'm still not buying that one. I think that's ridiculous. But I won't let that distract. So you're in Malaysia. What is going on out there? The only thing I know about Malaysia is that when I was younger, my friend's dad would bring back pirated copies on CDs of $1,000 3D editing programs that came from Malaysia. So it was a lot of piracy coming out of Malaysia in the olden days, back when piracy was a lot cooler of software. So yeah, what goes on out there?
Dude, I mean, first things first,
the food looks good.
First things first, I'm back on the fucking ciggies, dude. I'm blasting Marlboro menthols every day.
Oh God, I don't know how you smoke those things, but hey,
no,
more power to you. You're on vacation.
You're giving them a hard name. When I come to America, I'm going to bring you a fucking pack of Marlboro menthols, and we're going to smoke them together, okay?
No, I don't think we'll be doing that. As I said before, in college, I was really into Camel Crushes, and then after that, I had a brief renaissance with Parliaments, which I still would smoke one now if they were in front of me and I had a few drinks, but I'm usually not in that situation. So bottom line is I don't really smoke anymore. But for a special occasion, yeah, maybe I give one a shot with you when you're back, when you're in the States someday. So, all right, you're smoking cigarettes, you're in Malaysia. What else is going on there?
So, okay, here's the lowdown on Malaysia. It's like Thailand, except less catered to tourists. It's like
Oh.
it's like if the locals of Thailand didn't give a shit about tourism as much as they do now. The food's better. The tourists are better. Like, there's no drunk Australian retards
I know
wandering the
those
streets
well.
at 2 a.m.
Or on this podcast.
Yeah. And the activities, they're not as good as Thailand, because like in Thailand you can swag out with fucking jet skis and parasailing and all that shit, but it's like a more reserved Thailand. It's like a chill Thailand.
That's amazing to hear.
It's the thinking man's Thailand once you've already been to Thailand.
Have you been there?
I have, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this is kind of reminding me of a popular city that we have in America called Nashville, where it was kind of like a under-the-radar, cool southern city, and now it's just become a bachelorette, like, hollowed-out party city, and it kind of lost its original charm. To me, that kind of sounds like Thailand in a way, where it used to be this mystery to get out there and experience something new, and now you're just stuck with a bunch of frat guys accidentally or intentionally maybe having sex with guys who look like women. So
I used to hear stories about Thailand in like 2001, 2002 and shit. And it was like the Wild West. You could do fucking anything, dude. You could buy and sell anything. You could fucking inquire any type of service that you wanted to inquire about.
I will leave that open to interpretation.
It truly was like the Wild West, where money from the West would go super fucking long. Like $100 US back then, dude. Holy shit, you could swag out for a fucking week back then.
Real.
But because of all the tourists, it's gone now. It's sort of like lost its luster, and you have to go to countries like Laos or Cambodia to like turn back the clock 20 years.
And truly get in it. Okay.
Yeah.
What's in Malaysia? I actually, your first point about food, the pictures you've posted of the food you've been eating there, it looks amazing. The food looks really good there. Yeah. So you mentioned the money. Is it like exchange rate wise? Do Western dollars go pretty far there, or?
Yeah. I'm using my New Zealand. So $1 American dollar is about $5 Malaysian dollars. So yeah, you can just buy fucking anything. Okay. And like a meal is like 15 Malaysian dollars, which is like $3 US, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like a more mature, authentic Southeast Asian experience than going to Thailand. And you sent me some videos of you walking around, and it seemed like it was pretty cool. It seemed like it was neat. So
I proved to more that there was actually stuff going on in countries outside America.
Again, I'm not convinced. You were walking around one street and it was completely empty with a bunch of
because it was 6 a.m. It was 6 a.m.
I don't know. There was some good and bad evidence going both ways there. So some things that could be explained away. When I think of Malaysia, I think of I don't know, palm trees. Are there a lot of
that's actually pretty
greenery around the cities?
They have a lot of palm tree farms in Malaysia.
Okay. It sounds like a peaceful place to go. Is it peaceful?
It is, and you can feel like the presence of Islam in the country as well. Like it
Yes, my brother.
I'm gonna sound so cringe, but
were you facing what is it, Mecca 3 times a day now in Malaysia or something? Your little Sneeko arc?
I just had fucking a Ramadan dinner last night, and it was fucking amazing, dude. I'm getting pilled on Islam, so it's
okay. You're gonna get into. Isn't it one of those countries? I might be thinking like Indonesia. It's either Indonesia or Singapore, where if you have a little bit of drugs, they kill you. Is Malaysia like
Singapore,
that too?
Yep, it's Singapore. That's my home country, which is based as fuck.
And does Malaysia do that too?
They do, but it's not. But you can bribe the officials if you really want to. But in Singapore, if you get called with like fucking like an ounce of weed, they just fucking kill you, which is so funny.
Which is amazing. I'm all for that. So keep doing that. I will do what I can to live and see the day where that happens in America as well, because those people are just asking for it a lot of the time. So yeah, sounds good. You got anything else? You go out around there? You had fun?
You know, the thing I love most about Asia is that when you come here, you can just rent a scooter for like $5 a day, and then just scoot around the entire fucking island. It's so fucking sick, dude. If we ever get to Southeast Asia, I'm gonna have to get you on the scooter situation. It's really cool.
Yeah, it does sound like a recipe for success and disaster to just say, drink as much as you want, eat as much as you want, party as much as you want, and then ride around a scooter all day.
Dude,
I would get myself into some trouble.
This scooter
Absolutely.
can go up to like 100 miles an hour if you want to push it, right? So imagine this: it's a night out, you're with your boy, you're blasting Marlboro menthols, you're having a couple drinks, and then
Do
you
you
just
smoke
fucking...
them while riding the scooter?
Oh yeah, I'm doing everything while smoking them.
Smoke
So you
on a
just-
scooter?
You imagine a whole night of like Marlboro menthols and fucking like Asian beer, and then just driving home drunk on the scooter, which no one cares about. That's fucking sick. That's fucking lit.
I'm sorry, but that's awesome. I did a similar, much less fun, because it's a desolate, soulless place, version of that in Miami, and it sounds way cooler where you are. Way cooler. So, yeah, that's a good time then.
Well, next trip it will be the great state of America. So yeah.
No, next trip we'll be going to the great Queen's homeland and knocking the shit out of our idiot co-host that has literally found himself almost on a missing persons list at this point, at least within our sphere. So we need to go make a continental house call and do what needs to be done. So, but that's a personal grievance that I'll leave for another time. But it looks like you got something to kind of lean into this, talking about immigrating and then committing crimes in the UK, which I will be doing soon. You have a subject here that you want to touch on, and maybe this is related to your travels or not, maybe some realizations you've had while you've been traveling. I see you said illegal immigration, just that. I don't know if you want to solve it, you have thoughts on it, and hey, this will lead into our election discussion maybe later on. So yeah, what do you want to say about illegal immigration?
I'm not trying to solve it, but I think it would behoove conservatives to be more honest about it, right? So I changed my mind about illegal immigration recently after just watching a few vlogs, which is cringe, I know, like changing my mind because of content. But I watched a few videos from this guy called Bald and Bankrupt, where he recorded himself like doing the caravan crossing from South America to America, where he would hitchhike on these like fucking like extremely dangerous trains and like these hazardous conditions, crossing this jungle, and there's like families next to him crossing as well. And it's like, you know, I used to think that they were all parasites and these immigrants had no regard for the sanctity of society, and because they were illegally crossing into it. But you know, after seeing that stuff, it's kind of getting harder and harder to justify them as just parasites. You know, it's really tough. Trump likes to say, you know, they're rapists, they're insane people, you know, they're bad hombres, and you know, I could be wrong. I've never met a caravan of these people, but from what I can discern, that it just isn't true. You know, like a lot of them are just regular families who would push to the extreme.
Stupid video on YouTube.
No, but it's true
What
though.
an
Like,
impressionable moron! You say that I'm a woman in a lot of ways. You are
do you
so
think they're
pathetic.
crossing with malicious intent though? Like,
I don't
that's the
care what
crux.
their intent is. I
That's-
do not care what their intent
That's what
is.
I'm gonna. That's what I'm leading up to. You fucking idiot. Just wait.
Okay, go ahead then.
I'm saying it. They obviously aren't maliciously doing that, right? And I think it's wrong for conservatives to paint them as that way. I think it would behoove them to just be more honest and say, you know what, we understand that you have a tough life. Your life got rug pulled because you know your government did some shitty thing, and you know
Because you weren't born into the mystical providence of the United States. That's what I say.
Yeah, even
Sorry,
that.
Go ahead.
Because like I watched a story about this guy who was like an army officer in Venezuela, and like Dude, he was living a good fucking life. You know, he had a good apartment. He was sending money to his mom to pay for her apartment. Good car, good girlfriend. But then because the government changed over, his entire life was fucking rug pulled. That guy's not insane. He's not like a fucking criminal or rapist. You know, it's like he's only migrating because he was pushed to the extreme. And I get it, okay? It's not America's fucking responsibility, and I still stand with the idea that they should deport these people back, but it really doesn't help when conservatives just stand up and say, oh, they're all bad people, they're rapists and all that. It's like, just be honest and say, okay, we understand your situation, but we just can't help you, you know?
Well, first off, and this is kind of playing make-believe. Conservatives don't actually want to solve the border crisis. They want to use it as a mechanism to win election, because we've seen when they are in power, they don't actually solve it, especially when they control all the branches of government and also the DHS, which oversees it. So I think you're making a good point in that they need to be more honest, because it's not, for instance, you have like Laken Riley, who Biden called Lincoln Riley in his State of the Union. He's like, Lincoln Riley. Made me think of Lincoln Logs for some reason. When you bring up that story, it's supposed to have this powerful message coming from a conservative and saying, we lost this woman because of an illegal immigrant. And I wouldn't even call it a counterpoint, but something that obviously leads into that is, well, people are getting killed. Using murder as the mechanism for the immigration conversation doesn't work, because Americans are killing Americans every day as well. And you're just pointing out one that's happening as illegal.
That Trump tried to say, like, Kate's Law or something. Like, how many fucking other Kates are there killed by people from America? It doesn't matter if it's like fucking named Kate's Law or whatever, you know?
Yeah, and I think I think you're going in a good direction, is that it would fit Republicans better to go with the idea of, I don't care if you're little Nona trying to get away from the Sinaloa cartel down in Mexico over the border, or you are you have mega rapist tattooed in whatever Spanish on your forehead and you're coming into the country. It doesn't matter. We need to treat them under the equal opportunity of our border laws. And that's it. Because to me, even the nicest possible migrant that's coming into our country illegally is they're abusing our asylum laws. The only way you should have asylum safety in here as an illegal immigrant is if you are informing on the cartel and making a legitimate stride to you're in danger and your life is imminently being pressured by the cartel, and there's something that you could do to help further our cause with them, then we can grant you asylum. That kind of, to me, is an intention of that kind of law, is when it's dangerous. Not what we see now are majority economic migrants from the South, the people that you're talking about who are in those caravans that are looking to go over that's why it was actually a good idea when Trump said we should tax people sending money back to Mexico. He obviously didn't enact this, and people are fucking stupid enough that he's going to do anything related to that when he's in office again, even though he already had 4 years to do it with more power and didn't. But I'll let that one go for now and all the excuses that'll come after it. But you're kind of tapping into something as well on top of that, that conservatives aren't being honest enough about. They need to start attacking legal immigration too. Legal immigration and overseas, let's just say from some Eastern countries that work in the IT business in America, they're completely hollowing out information technology, coding, spheres like that. And once one of them gets in, it's an infection, and they'll hire 5 other ones. And that pushes out college graduates. That pushes out natural citizens. It pushes a lot of people out of that industry as well. All of the green card visa complex needs to be investigated too. So, but I think you're onto something, because there are good people crossing the border. You're right. Yeah. There are good people.
And I'm with you on your take on the illegals as well. And I get it. You know, it's not America's problem to take care of, and there are plenty of American citizens' lives who need improving before a single cent could be allocated to people like the guy described from Venezuela. But it's like, you know, this could be a rare situation in which it would actually be beneficial to display some like performative empathy, you know, like conservatives would look so much better. But still enforce
the law?
Exactly, yes, but still enforce the law. Like, imagine how much more sympathetic people would be to conservatives if they said, we get it. You guys aren't really bad people, but we're just doing what we have to do, you know? Instead of like just coming out and saying, "Oh, they're rapists, they're insane people, they're asylum escapees or some shit." Like, no, they're not, you know?
Unfortunately, saying that is bombastic and it appeals to voters, and they like hearing that. So that's why conservatives lean on it. But if you're talking to someone who's, you know, probably more independent and can get swayed, which is a valuable voter, I've been told, and you say something like, yes, we need to have compassion for these people, but we also need to exercise our rule of law and keep our country the way that it is, because it is statistically untrue that the majority of illegal immigrants coming into this country are crazy rapists, serial killer murderers. Yeah. So you're saying an untrue point when you say there's a bunch of murderous illegal immigrants. It's like, no, why don't you get away from that point and be truer to what's at the heart of it and then address it? I think a lot of people would appreciate that, because most of the people who think that's true, that they're not going to, their mind's already made up about that. You know what I mean? So you might as well address a kinder point. And I'll say one more thing. I've either brought it up to you personally. I don't think I've ever brought it up on this show, but it was before Trump was elected, maybe 2 years before that season in 2014 or 15. People were just starting to warm up to the immigration problem and migrant issue of people coming into our country. And for some reason, Glenn Beck had a donation drive of soccer balls to give to illegal immigrant kids at the border so they're able to keep themselves occupied. And he faced a lot of blowback from the Conservative Party, obviously, that said, why are you showing kindness to people that are in this country illegally? And Glenn went, the altruistic Christian route, and he was like, oh, they're still human beings. They may be in this country illegally, but this is showing compassion for these people. And whether I agree that he did that or not, at least he was looking at the issue of immigration from a human perspective and trying to figure it out in that own way. So I thought that was an interesting moment that a lot of people
at least he's looking at that, at those people as people, not like some fucking statistic that you need to lower to like enhance some other statistic in your fucking state, you know?
Yes.
At least they're viewing it from a humanistic perspective, which I respect.
Yeah. I think the big issue we have right now, and I think it might be a manpower one, we, as in you're part of this country, but you know more about this country than the average American I talk to, so you might as well be an honorable member. I think we have enough manpower to enforce our southern borders right now, even without a wall. I actually don't think it's super difficult. I feel like they all congeal to one funnel and go through one specific spot. All you have to do is guard that and turn them around. I don't know, unless they're going to run like a horde. I think it's a lot more controllable of an issue than we're making it, but it's
you
still
really don't even have to do that. Well,
yeah, you're right.
Kind of.
You're right.
Because if you look at the map, right, there's this jungle called the Darien jungle where the majority of people have to go through if they want to cross from like the deep South America to Mexico and then cross the border to America. If you guys just block off the Darien gap, Darien jungle, there's no way for them to get through. They either have to fly, which they can't afford, or take a boat, which they also can't afford. So yeah.
Yes. And it's hard because you could see the obvious economic benefit to the wealthiest people in the country of why illegal immigration is important to them and the labor associated with it. So I understand that there's forces working against people who want to stop it, etc. And I think I remember during, I don't know if it was Trump, I think it was, he posed the question, we need to shut down the border for X amount of time. And in my head, I'm like, we can just do that? Why don't we just do that? Because that's step one to solving it. But that's a completely different conversation. I think it's more we're honing in on messaging, right? Messaging at the border and how to kind of like find a different tone going into this election. Because I don't think he'll be able to repeat what he did last time, especially since he didn't do anything about it when he was president. I don't think that he'll be able to repeat those same lines this time.
He did more than most, I would say.
I'll give him a participation trophy, but I'm not going to give him the accolades. I just can't. And I remember when he did do that address to the nation one night saying we had an emergency at the border. And then they're like, no, well, we have to do it the right way. It has to get congressional approval. I'm like, if Trump's serious about it, just do an executive order and just do it. People would have liked him a lot more for that. I know I would have respected him a lot more if he did that, but he didn't do it because,
I don't think it's that simple. I don't know.
Yes,
all I'm gonna say is
yes.
The job that he did. It's a hell of a lot better than fucking what Biden's doing now. Do you see like the recent shit that Biden's doing, like the laws he's doing?
That's what I don't understand, and maybe this was it's from a timing perspective.
Dude, it's it's clownish, right? So Biden, he set a limit of 8,000 immigrants per day. So he's like, oh, we're going to be bipartisan and tackle illegal immigration. We're going to limit the max to only 8,000 per day, which is like 120,000 per month, I think, right? Or more, 240,000 per month. And he's like, okay, if it goes above 8,000 a day, then I'll have the option to do something about it. So it's like, oh, so you're not even obligated to do anything after 8,000. You just have the option to do something. Cool. That's really cool, dude. Thank you.
Well, it's weird because Obama nearly or did deport more people than Trump did. So there was at one point a left-leaning think tank policy like, no, we need to remain sound on immigration because it is a big issue that maybe we can keep independence on our side if we kind of walk the line with it. But Biden, it's just been all in. Let them all in. You know what I mean? And I didn't expect that. I actually didn't expect that. I expected a little bit of tightening up on his end, but he doesn't even know what he's doing. So when I say Biden, I mean the people that are advising him. I don't mean him actually. So he chills hard. So what am I supposed to do about that? But also, whatever. Just to put a cap on this conversation, and it's funny you brought it up because a thought crossed my mind, not related to this, what you were thinking. I guess it would be more expensive for America to take over Mexico and have it as like a 50 whatever first or second appendage state than to keep going with what we're doing right now. Wouldn't it provide more value for us to end in solving illegal immigration, to send in our military, kill the entire Mexican cartel, and enrich Mexico through the American and federal economy, and that's it. We won't have to worry about it ever again. We won't have to have immigrants or anything like that. So I like to think in a distant future we'll decide to do that. You know?
I think you guys would have a better chance of buying Greenland, like Trump suggested, than doing that.
I know. I'm just I'm thinking galactically long term. I don't know why, but I feel like in the year 2200, the Alamo 2.0 wars or something. I don't know. It's happened before,
My dude saw
right?
Dune one time, just wants to orchestrate some like fucking war shit.
Am I gonna be the Paul Atreides of Mexico's liberation from itself? There we go. We'll do something like that. So
I would be the Asian doctor that betrays everyone.
I was about to say you were Stilgar, so you could just be my hype man. Go Lisana Gaib, every time. But no, you're like, actually, my first role is to betray you. So thanks. But yeah, much appreciated. Much appreciated. So, all right. We got another serious topic after this one, but I'm gonna cut it off because I need to get to this one. You just blurted this out, and I have to lead into it because I agree with this profusely. You just said on the side a few days ago, a topic you'd like to discuss is sunglasses are for losers. Why do you think this?
I think anyone who wears them on the reg is a pathetic piece of shit.
You know why, right?
I just don't see a purpose for them. Like, the world looks good. Why would you permanently darken everything just because on the off chance that you look at the fucking direction of the sun? Just look away. How is it so hard for you? Like, what the fuck is that? Are
you there to pretend that you have these dainty eyes that are affected by the literal, like, used to be worshipped and still is in some respects sun, like the most bountiful, obvious object in our existence? Your eyes that have evolved over thousands of years can't handle it. And you know the worst part? people think they look so fucking cool when they wear sunglasses, and you can tell because they wear them all the time, even when you don't need to, even on a cloudy day. And you can tell, like, kind of ugly-ish people, they need to make up for it by wearing sunglasses all the time, and it'd be like, yeah, this is my... It's part of their complexion, really, and their full outfit and how they want to be perceived by people. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just kicking back. I got sunglasses on, and just kind of, and like thinking like they're just. It makes me think they're part of some social strata that they're trying to show to you when they wear sunglasses. It pisses me off. It really does.
Like if that person has a hangover, fine, because I know that your eyes actually can't hurt.
That's the only time I wear them. Yeah.
but it's like, okay, objectively, it looks bad when you darken everything. So you're just really telling people, oh, I care more about having swag than fucking looking at the world the way it's supposed to be. Like, that's just such a loser mentality, Well,
not only that, but when I occasionally go golfing, the people I golf with will wear them. It destroys your depth perception. Say, why do you need your sunglasses on when you're golfing? You can barely perceive where the ball is at when you're swinging. It makes no sense to me. The only time I wear them is when I'm hungover in the car. Or I don't even know. I couldn't even say that's probably one of the few times that I do, because I think it's stupid. I want to see the world in front of me. I don't get why people don't want to do that. And you're basically admitting that you're a coward who can't handle sunlight when you wear them. So what am I like? I'm supposed to take you seriously. I have to take you seriously. Looking at me with your dumb fucking face. I can't even see the rest of your face because you think you look fucking cool right now, and it's not even sunny out. And I have to talk to you looking like that. It's annoying. It is really annoying.
Mr. Cool over here, 4 p.m. Just has to put sunnies on at 4 p.m. Cool, dude. Yeah, I'm sure it's really too bright for you at 4 p.m., dude. Yeah, cool.
No, I think it's a topic worth talking about. I have like a throwaway pair, and I have like a decent pair, but they rarely come out unless it's in extreme circumstances. So that is funny that you noticed.
Also, fundamentally, I just hate darkness. I love light. Like, light is just so much more beautiful than darkness. So why would you want to bask yourself in fucking darkness, It just doesn't make sense.
The prophet speaks. Well, it makes them feel like they're composed in life, where they have their full outfit, and then also to complete it, they have their sunglasses. And it's almost like you telling people that you're blasé about what you're seeing in front of you. You don't even want to fully appreciate the person that you're conversing with, or the world that's around you at that present moment. Instead, it's like, I can't handle it. I don't want to handle it, or I want to pretend that I'm above it, so I just put on sunglasses. It's kind of like if someone smokes weed before hanging out with you and you get offended. It's like, you needed to do drugs to tolerate me?
What I mean? I'm that boring that you need to get fucking blazed to talk to me. Okay.
Yeah, just stay home next time. I can entertain myself there. So yeah, when I knew there was something rotten at the core of sunglass users. So
I think I was talking to you and Ari about this a couple way before, like last year. But I used to hate darkness so much that I would get depressed if I stayed in a room that was dark for too long. Like, I would have to turn on all the lights. Like, I remember as a kid when my mom would put me to sleep and turn off all the lights, I'd get really fucking frustrated and angry and shit.
You'll get angry?
Yeah.
Like autism. Bring the light back, Mom, or something. But this guy goes, you're on your Eat, Pray, Love Malaysia trip, finding Islam, and now you're the light seer. I imagine you in the robe, be like, bring the light to me and I will show. I don't even know. You're on
an all-white tuxedo.
You're on some truth sayer, desert prophet. You're on your Dune shit. Don't tell me I'm on my Dune shit. You're on your Dune shit. So, I obviously graduated from it eventually, but I did rock the Charlie Brown nightlight for a while. It was Charlie Brown flying a kite. So yeah, I did need the nightlight going for quite some time, but that was just because I was afraid of Scream coming and getting me. So,
nightlights are fucking sick, dude. Like, I don't know. Another thing that bugs me, right, is people that need the room to be perfectly fucking dark before they can sleep, and they keep saying like, "Oh, if there's a source of light, I can't sleep." It's like, dude, I can sleep with the fucking lights blazing on. Like, what? Is that just me? Like, do people?
That's
is that
just
you
the
as well?
talent you have. No, that's just the talent you have. So my big one, I think I could live with a little bit of light here and there, but TV on, no. People who fall
Really?
asleep with a TV on are sick in the head. There are people who had TVs in their room growing up, and they never grew out of that because their parents were irresponsible and let them watch TV before they went to bed. So now they're fully grown fucking adults that can't fall asleep unless they're getting their little TV lullaby. It's fucking disgusting. It makes me sick to my stomach. I'll never have a TV in my room ever again as long as I live. So, sorry.
What if I fall asleep watching YouTube videos of Among Us Let's Plays? Is that the TV equivalent?
I'd say you could have an academic argument of that either being better or worse than what I'm describing. There are definitely two ways you can go about with that one. So, oh my goodness. All right, yeah, it's fall asleep with your sunglasses on. I don't know what to tell you. So, all right. That's good. That's good. So we took a little break. So you had your little commentary on illegal immigration, and I had to talk through what bothers me about people who wear sunglasses. But it looks like you have another problem you want to solve here. And I actually think I might have chimed in on this when you brought it up a while ago, and I might be able to have something to contribute. But you said that you can solve the issue of school shooters. Also, be careful of what you say.
I can. I think I've cracked the code, dude. Holy shit.
You've cracked the code.
Yep.
The Sorcerer's Stone.
This is going to sound really, really dumb, but I'm going to need you to just hold on and just think about it, okay? Hold the question, hold the thing I'm about to give you in your head for a little bit, and just tell me what you think. To solve school shooters, just forcibly transition them to women. Okay, picture this, right? You're telling me Elliot Rodger would have still...
You better have a good explanation for this. So.
Answer me this. You're telling me Elliot Rodger would have still shut up his school if he was forced to transition into a cute girl? Really? There's no way he would have done that.
There's a part of me that doesn't want to dig you out of this at all and say, okay, expand on that.
It's true. It's true. Picture this, right? Elliot, he gets identified as a potential shooter, incel, whatever, and gets forcibly transitioned, becomes Ellie Rodger, right? And then he's cute, he gets his fucking boy pussy blown up by a regular, like, LGBT-friendly alpha. You're telling me he would still shoot up the school? There's no way in hell he does that. Because he'd be loving life.
He would be loving... You're revealing more about yourself than this hypothetical situation.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
No, this actually has historical bias, right? Because look, I realized there's
my dude got
there's
sources.
There's a tribe of African warriors, right? Where so the trial to reach manhood is that you have to jump off a cliff or something. But if you couldn't jump off the cliff, and even though you were born a man, you couldn't actually be a man. So the guys that were born guys and couldn't jump off the cliff, they would be like a third gender, like sort of like in between a guy and a girl, because they did not have enough courage to jump off the cliff. We should make that acceptable for school shooters. It's like, oh, okay, you're an Elliot Rodger, fine. We'll just transition you. You know, like.
Wait, would they be regarded as a third gender or actually mutilated to be a third gender?
Socially, it would be a third gender, but then they would be transitioned to be female.
I'm sorry, Tyson, and I'm not trying to be derogatory of any particular group when I say this. We've had about 3 or 4 trans men or women, whichever one is changing themselves into women, shootings over the past mass shootings over the past 2 years. So,
but I feel like those are different, though. I feel like they did that because of something else. I keep picturing, if you transition someone like Elliot Rodger and he's loving life as a girl, he would not shoot up this school. He just wouldn't, you know?
I think the crux of your argument rests on the idea that you think Elliot Rodgers would look cute as a girl.
No.
Okay. There was a pause.
I'm just stepping into psychology, and I'm thinking, this guy, he hates life because he's incel, becomes forcibly transitioned, becomes Ally Roger, gets
Ally
hooks up with an LGBT friendly alpha male,
You said it twice already.
and then they have he or she has the time of her life from now on. There's no reason to pick up the
Why does he
AK.
need to be a girl to do that? Because maybe he would have less male aggressive tendencies, right?
No, because
I'm trying to help your argument.
These school shooters, they're usually because they're incels, aren't they? Because they can't get
so they need
pussy.
to get their backs blown out.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, if you can't get a girlfriend, fine, we'll fucking make you the girl then,
Okay, so I'll just put that one aside and let that be your project. So I don't have any. I kind of like rooted around there to tell you that shootings still happen.
I'm just testing the waters, so I don't fully believe this, but I kind of believe it. What's your thoughts on my theory here?
Well, I think I don't think your theory is true because there have been shootings caused by transgender women already. So whatever you're describing, they maybe experienced it and they still went and shot a place up. But I will tell you my solution, okay? So I think we've got enough background on yours. And this is, and I really don't want to be baiting here. I'm just giving my views, okay?
Uh-huh.
Assuming that federal agencies wanted to prevent school shootings, which I haven't seen full evidence that they want to. Because every shooting that happens is we've been in contact with them, and part of us knew that they were going to shoot a place up, and we did nothing. So, and
it's like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's been on the list for like 4 years.
And we could do an episode in itself or a subject in itself about how there have been contributions made by agencies towards mass shootings, but I'll leave it. Let's pretend we live in a world where the government or the powers that be or the executive wing wants to be able to stop school shootings. Here's what you would do. The second someone falls on your list, so, we'll just say prostitution is a messy subject, but in some ways it's kind of illegal. It's mostly illegal, but it's, I think, going to be legal in this country someday, but this will kind of be under the table. So imagine and it doesn't even have to be Minority Report-esque. So you have a shooter that's on your radar. Let's use Elliot Rogers as our favorite example. Okay. Elliot Rogers is on the federal radar. He says, "Oh my God, I'm such a loser incel. I have guns and I'm an incel and I'm gonna go shoot up, Stacy."
Oh my God, TFW, no pussy.
Yeah, exactly. You start seeing stuff like that. So what you would do, like Incel Minority Report, is you would send out a sex SWAT team, okay, with a sexually experienced woman, okay? So it'd be like a SWAT team coming up to your door. They'd definitely be wearing different outfits. And it'd be like, "Open up, like, sex is on the way," or something, like, "Get in there." And then they flashbang it out or something, or like create the situation where like Elliot Rogers is in a daze and some girl just hops on top of him. Some really hot female SWAT team prostitute hops on top of him and like bangs him and gives him this insane, life-altering sexual release, and then she's out of there. She's back out of there. You know what I mean? And because he has this release, he's no longer a virgin, okay? And this woman, she's not really giving anything up by having sex with him because she's on government payroll. She's basically a SWAT team paid government prostitute, but she would relieve that tension that's making him that school shooter. So it'd just be like a sex sting, really, from the government. I think they need to focus more on that. If they actually wanted to stop these shootings, just get them laid. And if it's one of these transgender shooters, what did it say? Go get an LGBT alpha in there to go blow their pussy out. What do you want? Like, you know what I mean? So
okay, you know what? Off the bat, I will admit that is a more pragmatic solution than my solution, but hear me out on this. Would it not be funnier to just transition Elliot Roger forcibly? Like, that would be pretty fucking hilarious, wouldn't it?
Just sneaking something into his white monster every day.
Dude, yeah. Ellie Roger, Delilah Roof. You telling me you don't want to see that?
Gosh. Oh goodness. So this was not the solution that I had in mind, but hey, we're open for an advisory role if any police or government agencies need our expertise. We're a think tank here. We're a think tank first and foremost, really. So I think I don't know.
We're at the forefront.
We're at the forefront of thought leaders. What was that? I'm really spinning off it right now. But what was that one article that came out 3 or 4 years ago? It's Meet the Dark Side of the Intelligent Internet or something like that. Meet the intelligent leaders of the dark side of the internet. And it was like,
are you talking about like the picture of Jordan Peterson and it says
yeah, it was like Jordan
the
Peterson,
intellectual
Ben
dark
Shapiro.
web.
Yes, the intellectual dark web. It was like Jordan Peterson, fat ass James Lindsay, and like Ben Shapiro or something. I don't know what it was. It was like so ridiculous. God, that was such an awful time, dude. And the worst part is we have to relive all of it if we're gonna have a repeat of the last election. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be terrible. I just can't. So, all right. Well, I won't say that issue is fully fleshed out.
No, we solved it. We solved it. It's fine.
Okay, you can take that one back to the workshop. You know what? While we're on this topic of conversation, this is kind of like it's turned into I'm having a good time in Malaysia to a full-on conspiracy episode. There's something I want to point out, and I'm not trying to make a statement when I say this. I'm not trying to come to a definitive conclusion. This is more of a be aware. This is kind of a PSA when you see something come to you. Okay, because I've been in the conspiracy circuit for as long as I can remember, because I've always found it interesting. But okay, you remember, and this is a little deep. First off, I knew who Jeffrey Epstein was like 13 or 14 years ago. Okay, so I was already clued into that, and I think he only came into the public conscience when he was ready to be put in it, when the powers that be thought it was time to discuss Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe his time was up and they were moving on to another operation. So his time was to come into the news cycle and then subsequently die, which is amazing, supposedly. But when they were first going after him, when they first released that documentary, there was a woman in that documentary named Virginia Giuffre, and two other girls who were much hotter than her, by the way. There were these two skinny girls that I think Jeffrey Epstein got in his orbit when they were 14 or 15. And their story was a lot more tempered. They said, Jeffrey Epstein brought us to this place. It was very strange. We went to the island. We were told to do things that, we weren't sure if they were right when we were that age. And it seemed like they were taken advantage of, but their stories seemed to be controlled in telling them. A lot more comfortable in describing what happened because they looked like they worked through therapy and got through something that was tough in their lives. But the other girl, Virginia Giuffre, when she came up, she's like, I was on Epstein Island getting molested in a holosphere by Prince Andrew and then Bill Gates and then Steve. Her stories were so fantastical that was actually proven in some instances that she was lying about them straight up. And I don't know if she was trying to get more popularity off of what was happening or try and get some credibility, but it just seems strange to me that there were these two people mixed in there that seemed to be a little bit more composed. And then Virginia Giuffre was all over the place. And I'm not sure if that was by design or you just have people that are in there that kind of discredit what's going on. So something that's been going on recently is that there's been a bunch of documentaries called Quiet on the Set talking about what kids had to go through on these old Nickelodeon shows like All That and, I don't know, Kenan and Kel or Drake and Josh. And apparently they were asked to – there were sex offenders on set. There were kids that were asked to do really strange skits that had sexual innuendos in them. And everyone's fingers kind of pointed back to this guy called Dan Schneider. And I noticed pattern-wise, a lot of what people were saying in that documentary when I watched some parts of it were first off, they had no actual evidence that he had touched them inappropriately or done anything inappropriate with them. Okay, so that's step one. And then afterwards, a lot of the other interviews were Dan Schneider came on to set and he was really mean. He was angry. He yelled at all the writers. And I thought to myself, I said, that's what executive producers on shows do. it sounds like he had a really unhinged management style that was terse and harsh, and people weren't really happy with it, which I get it. He was new in his career in that role and probably handled it incorrectly. But this documentary that was supposed to be this massive revelation on mistreatment of children on these Nickelodeon sets is a bunch of people saying that, I don't know, Dan Schneider was mean and the vibes on set felt off, and and there were a few people around us who got arrested as being sexual offenders. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, like, of course they are. They're taking jobs around kids all the time. It's definitely some failed background checks, you know. But Dan Schneider, it was seen that like he never like fully associated with these people who were arrested for these things. So I guess what I'm getting at is, I wish people were a lot more weary and paid closer attention to kind of digs like this, or events where they're pushing into some past event like 15 or 20 years ago, and the person isn't there not only to not defend themselves, but you have to question why certain things come into the public conscience when they do. Why are we talking about this guy, Dan Schneider, who I've known about for 20 years at this point, with the allegations that are made against them? Why are we talking about this now? Why is this being brought into the public sphere now? Why are all these disgruntled writers talking about him now? And I also start to think, we're talking about these kids and Dan Schneider. They all had parents at the time who were massive enablers. People don't understand that child stars are enabled by their parents, who do unspeakable things and let unspeakable things go to let their kids get to the top or push them to the top. So they were probably in part encouraging their kids to partake in this supposedly bad behavior that Dan Schneider was pushing them through. But I just think people get like carried away with narratives really easy, you know. So this documentary comes out, it may not have proof in it, but the takeaway is Dan Schneider is a bad guy. So then that's all people talk about from that point forward. So that was kind of the intent of it, you know, but there was
Honestly,
no real true evidence, you know?
Honestly, I'm with it. I don't need to see any more evidence. I'm fully on board that he's the bad guy and deserves to be under the jail. You know, Schneider is kind of like
jail.
Schneider is kind of like my fucking my version of Epstein for you. Like, I've known about this guy for a long ass time, and if you knew about how it originated, it's because all the how should I say this? The fucking foot fetishists,
message board users. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
message boards.
Okay.
The foot fetishists on certain message boards noticed certain scenes that Dan loves including in all of his shows. And dude, if you remember this, 4 or 5 years ago, a similar expose came out about Schneider, and he was fired from his job, and he was given an immediate $8 million severance package check. So it's like, man, I don't care what they say, what evidence there is. You just know that guy's hard drive is like the dirtiest fucking thing on the planet, dude. So I don't need any more evidence. I'm fully on board. Let's put this guy. Let's slip a gram of cocaine and send this guy to Malaysia and see what happens.
You know what, Tyson? Okay, so I think my discussion, my not even argument, but what I'm trying to say is, and that's the word I was looking for a moment ago. You said it. Just be mindful and cognizant of when an expose comes out and what they're actually saying in it and what evidence is being presented. I think it's a good template in the future because, yes, I do think Dan Schneider is a freak and he likes feet, and he definitely had some questionable moments with people on his set. But the accusations that are littered throughout this documentary are a lot of people saying, like, yeah, things just felt off. And I felt this scene with Dan Schneider and Amanda Bynes in a hot tub wasn't appropriate. It's like, okay, like that's the deep, dark secret, is you talking about that 20 years later. I don't know. I think just be mindful of it. But what I want to add is, unless you are a woman, a caretaker, a mother, being a guy and preferring to be around kids all day is weird.
Yeah.
You are weird.
Yep.
Like, you are weird more often of the time than not. Okay, so 51% of guys who enjoy being around kids are weirdos. And I will automatically think that they're a weirdo off the bat. Like, majority, okay? And that number can only go up. That it can only be more questioning. You know, if you're a gym teacher and you're a guy and you're hanging out with high schoolers, well, you know what I mean. We're all just having a conversation here. But
that's called having swag. So
We're gonna answer the school romance question on another episode, but I remember way back in the day when old Kid Moyer was a lifeguard. There was a time when all the parents, and I might have told this story on the podcast, I can't remember. There was a time when all the parents around 4 or 5 o'clock would start drinking, okay, at the pool, start having a little bit of fun, go, let their kids go off and play, and they would congeal around each other and start being social, talk about adult stuff. And I noticed there was always one guy with this weird smile. He had a wife, he had kids. He would always hang out near the kids and play games with them, like diving games, be like, oh, good job, blah, blah, blah. And he'd always yell at me. He'd be like, hey, why isn't the lifeguard over here watching these kids? Even though my time was up by then. And I'm like, why do you want to hang out with all these little kids that are playing with each other and like play games with them while adults are over there drinking and having fun? Like, I'm sorry. I know you have a wife and kids, but you're weird. Like, I would bet that you're probably a child molester. I really would. So I don't get that. I don't get why a guy would want to do that.
I would bet that if he stood up fully, like all the way fully, he would have a fucking stiffy the size of the fucking Eiffel Tower, dude.
I think there is something inherently off about a man. It's like Twitter. Why are you as a man? But literally, a guy shouldn't want to spend his excess time where he could be having fun with adults with 10 little children at a pool. I'm sorry. Let them go off and do kid stuff and talk about, I don't know, lunch boxes or something, whatever kids are talking about these days. So just let them go do that, But instead, you have to be there and be like, oh, good job, Johnny. You jumped into the pool. You're weird. Like, you're just a weirdo. I don't understand that. I really don't. So, yeah. Guys who want to be around kids, I don't know. There's something a little off about that. So,
it's sort of like a funny mental image. Is like, talk about people like Epstein and Schneider. It's like those guys are sort of like the go-getters of the molester community. But then the people that you described, they're sort of like the betas. Like, I could see them getting fucking rejected by a child. Like they try to molest a child and they could be like, no, what are you doing? Get your hands off me,
Yeah, they're not even aware of what it is he's trying to do. They're just like, nah, I don't want whatever you're cooking. I don't even want. Like, just get away from me.
This dude kind of lame. I'm gonna hang out with Uncle Jeffy over here.
Dude, we can't publish this. We cannot put this on the air. This episode is so ridiculous. When you say the go-getters, I'm thinking like a pickup artist and like all this other stuff. I can't even go into what I'm thinking right now. So you're just out of control. You need to get back home, okay? You're in some dude, weird like.
When Schneider wakes up, he thinks it and he does it, dude.
Schneider mindset.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're on some like thought journey out in your, like a shaman, out on your journey over here.
I'm testing out different theories, dude. Maybe you'll come around on the Elliot Rodger one soon.
No, I think the sexual emergency SWAT team is a way better, safer, and realistic idea than what you're talking about. It was funny. I was talking to my one friend yesterday who, if he listens to this occasionally, he might still be here, but he was just like, yeah, I really liked it was all about Dan Schneider, and he was like, yeah, how did they let him direct Rebel Moon? But it was funny? I did see one picture, the entrance to one of the old Nick studios and the old logo of Nick. Someone said, bruh, this makes so much more sense now. It's on Twitter, and it's literally just an orange foot that says Nickelodeon on.
Oh, no,
that was Nick's logo for the longest time, and it's like, huh. Okay, that makes a lot of sense now. And it's annoying because the reason that the subject is a little bit popular and catching some steam now is because it's tapping into people's nostalgia who used to watch those Nick shows when they were younger. Things like All That and the Amanda Bynes show and Keenan. That's a little bit, but did they even do Nickelodeon New Zealand?
How do foot fetishists gain so much power in media? What the fuck? Like, actually, first you got Schneider, then you got Tarantino, and fucking who else? Like, What's up with that? Like, is there some secret sauce that we're missing on?
Yeah, maybe they're okay. So people have had it wrong this entire time. People love to go, oh, it's all about adrenochrome and the Bohemian Grove. It's like, no, what if it's a foot cult, the foot cult that runs Hollywood? We're gonna get cut here soon, but it seems to be those with the power and those in the most control are foot adjacent. So
You know that Illuminati like puppet master image, just the top of the pyramid is the foot fetishes.
And you know what? Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah,
The worst part is that they're probably sitting back getting angry about foot fetishists, too. They're probably like, man, these guys ruined it for us. We used to be able to have movies with Liv Tyler's feet in your fucking face, and we used to be able to watch that all day. Now, people are a little more observant of when you're using feet because they know that foot fetishism has been mainstreamed, So those guys ruined it for everyone. And they're going to do it with armpits, too. No, they can't. They can't. They're disgusting and out of control, and they have to do that. So, yes. Oh my goodness, I don't want to reveal anything more here. So, all right, well that's good. You got anything else on the back end? Because we hit an hour. So.
I just got one more thing.
No.
I'm gonna send you a picture of these shoes for a second.
Okay.
Okay. So I thought about this like recently, and I just got really, really fucking angry at this.
You got angry
Okay,
at shoes.
tell me what you think about this shoe.
Okay, hopefully you bring this up on the screen when when this gets published.
For those of you who don't know what it is, it's the Yeezy foam runners.
Why are you? I've seen these so many times before. Why are you just looking at them and getting angry now?
I'm angry because I cannot fucking believe I let my ex Korean friend gaslight me into thinking that these were actually so fucking cool and good looking, but I just didn't get it. I can't believe I let him do that to me. They objectively look like fucking dog shit, and he's the one who's being gaslit. And I wish I fucking told him how shit they looked before I cut off contact with him, dude. Holy shit.
You know why he thinks this? Because first off, most people in America who see these think they look stupid, but there's some shoe connoisseurs that'll end up falling for it and like them. And you know what? The one reason that I can give in their favor is they're like if Crocs were stylish, okay? So if you look at them at the same perspective as Crocs and maybe think they have a little bit more personality, that makes sense to me. But from a fashion standpoint and a presentation standpoint, yeah, I think they look really stupid. But because they're very expensive, they're Yeezys, and they're an American cultural product. Of course your stupid Korean friend thinks they look cool because Koreans live downstream from American culture. He's probably like, oh, look at those cool shoes that are popular in America. All the rappers like that. Something fucking stupid because they're so impressionable with dumb shit we do in our country because it's our most toxic export. And he thinks these stupid fucking shoes look cool.
I'm like, I don't see it. I think it looks like shit. And he's like, oh, no, you just don't get it. I'm too cool for you. So.
Yeah, you don't get it because you don't have your own culture. You literally are a product of American culture.
That's what it is. That bothers me so much. Oh my goodness! Don't get me started on that. But yeah, no, they look pretty stupid. And I know some people who own pairs in real life, and all. So, but not me, not me. You know what? Now that you have this picture up, and this is way after hours. You guys, people tuning in for the first time might not even know who we're talking about because he's been gone for so long. I could totally see him wearing these like a little fucking loser. I could totally see him sauntering around in these things.
I could see him buying a pair ironically, but then like end up liking them unironically. You know?
Absolutely. Well, he'd at least sell that way to us. Sell it that way to us. So be like, yeah,
guys, I'm just
so
doing
stupid.
it for the irony of it. You know, it's just...
Yeah, and then wears them around his house to make eggs. It's just like, he looks like a fucking idiot. Oh my goodness. I appreciate you sharing that with me. I do like talking fashion every once in a while. So, all right. I think we need to duck out before we get ourselves in any more trouble. So, and this is really meta. I don't like talking like this, but first off, I didn't say this at the beginning. I'll say it now. Like and subscribe. I'm not even kidding. But the way it goes with our channel is 150 views, 1,000 views, 150 views, and then we hit a vein here, and it'll be like 2,000 views or 3,000 views, and then another one. I hope this is an episode that is one of the dud 150 views.
No,
So
no,
I
no,
don't-
no. I'm gonna bring out the secret sauce to make this pop off.
Oh no, I'm scared. So, but hey, it's the cutting edge, right? It is the cutting edge. We are the true intellectual dark web. Oh my goodness. All right, well, enjoy the rest of your vacation. All right.
I will, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Until next time, we're Sea to the Sea. Later, everyone.
See ya.